Alright, my hair is kind of looking like garbage right now, I'm well aware. But if you don't say anything about it in the comments, I'm not going to tell your dad what you did last night, alright? We got a deal? As you go through life, you have to do things sometimes, make some decisions. And one way to make decision making a lot easier is to try to stick to principles that sort of guide you towards a more correct approach. One principle that's been just shooting up in relevance as my life has progressed is the principle of honesty over vanity. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, when I say vanity, I'm not necessarily referring to, the frat bro who goes out and lifts every single day and then takes Instagram pictures in the mirror at the gym and hogs up all the space so you can't get your curls in. I'm not talking about that kind of vanity. What I mean is a sort of preservation of your own ideas about the world instead of the truth. So, let me give some examples of violations of this principle. If you have the fundamental attribution error, i.e., when you make a mistake, you blame outside factors, but when someone else makes a mistake, you blame them, that's vanity over honesty. Confirmation bias is also an example of vanity over honesty. Your own idea that you came up with yourself is sort of like a pet versus any other ideas that should be treated equally, and the evidence should be weighed equally in favor of all the possibilities. But yours is the best, so therefore anything that confirms it must make it more true. That's confirmation bias, and that's vanity over honesty too. But probably the most important one is a narcissistic injury. When someone who's full of themselves, or at least their own idea of themselves as like a good person at heart, makes a pretty bad mistake, they'll do all sorts of things. They'll either do some crazy mental gymnastics and dig themselves into a deep hole trying to justify it, or they just snap. This is the ultimate mark of a narcissist, and ultimately it boils down to someone who has only a tenuous grasp of this principle, someone who doesn't follow it or doesn't value it very highly at the very least. Now enter Twitter user Tinder District, also known as Carly Rae Jepsen, not to be confused with the artist behind the 2011 pop hit single Call Me Maybe. That's Carly Rae Jepsen. So Carly Rae Jepsen actually isn't her real name. Her actual name is Jessie Rae Peterson. Not to be confused with notorious internet racist Jesse Lee Peterson. And this woman, well, let me just go over what happened recently. Gotta put on my glasses to read this because I'm a dork. Now, Jesse here made a tweet on May 10th that says, "If you ever feel bad about your standards, may I remind you that I recently had sex with a man with a 3-inch penis who referenced Harry Potter during sex and asked if he could call me an Uber pool home in rush hour traffic. And then a week later, I had sex with him again." Now, if you're a normal person with like regular values and you're just sort of scanning through this and seeing this, you probably understand why people might have been upset by this. I mean, she has sex with the guy twice, and the second time it has to be under false pretenses. Since presumably the first time she wasn't so into him, may I remind you, she remarked on his 3-inch penis, and then still did it again with him. Why would you do that? The first visual that may come to mind is that of someone who is desperate. But Jessie here is not simply a desperate woman. No. Jessie is cuckoo bananas as well. See, if you look on the rest of her page, you'll find other very questionable posts. And in how many ways is this woman a little bit off her rocker? Well, allow me to count them. So here's this tweet, "Men do not deserve rights." Now, this is commonly said by, accounts on Twitter who are just going to talk shit on a man. I don't have a problem with that, It's like if a guy said women do not have rights, it's obviously a joke. Obviously, she believes that everyone should have rights, at least I'm pretty sure, but she's kind of tired of men. I get that. So let's go into these texts because obviously, to provoke a tweet like this, the man must have done something pretty bad to her, right? Like some sort of boneheaded move. Let's see what he did. So he says, "Oh, hey, Jesse, I've been thinking about if this works, and I'm not sure I quite feel the connection needed to continue seeing this through romantically. You're seriously dope, and I love meeting you, and I'm excited for your work so much. I'm just not sure I feel strongly enough to pursue things deeper, if that makes sense. I've been thinking a lot about this, and that's where I'm at. Let me know your thoughts too. I'm sorry if I've been inconsistent with you recently." So this is what he apologizes. He respectfully states how he's feeling. He wishes her good luck in the future. I mean, how can he possibly do any better than letting her know that he's not into her in this way? This is like the dream rejection. This is just so respectful and such a great move. If a girl rejected me like this, I honestly wouldn't even be upset about it. In fact, I would probably be happy because, like, how do I live up to that standard of person? Like, I would just feel inadequate in that relationship anyway. So just terminate it. Obviously, something else must have happened, right? Because it couldn't have been this that provoked the sentiment that men don't deserve rights. So let's read the rest of this message history. She replies, "Yeah, I feel the same way. I just wish you were honest earlier when I asked, LOL. Sorry, I'm like at a bar / drunk. But yeah, I sort of got that. I'm just annoyed because you were like, yeah, I'm emotionally intelligent, etc. And yet still couldn't just tell me what you were feeling. Ugh, men." I can tell she's inebriated because I feel like a sober person would not be upset about this. I mean, you would think that anyone with a little bit of empathy would be able to just put themselves in the shoes of the other person. If she put herself in his shoes for even a second, she would realize, oh, this guy made a baller move rejecting me in this way. I can't fault him for this. But she's still gonna fault him for this. He continues, respectfully as always, "That's fair. I didn't know you felt the same way, but that makes sense. I think it's fair to call out the emotional intelligence claim. I hear you, by the way. And bottom line, I'm sorry for making you feel bad, Jesse." He apologized twice. Are you kidding me right now? What is he apologizing for, even? He's saying everything she's doing is fair and letting her know that he's listening to her. I mean, God, if every guy treated girls like this, I feel like the women's rights movement would just die, because this is it. I'm just mad because I told you about literally the same thing happening and how bad that is for my anxiety disorder. Like, I'm having... I just sound like Shaggy there. Like Scoop! Like, I'm having an anxiety attack because I make myself vulnerable and give people outs. And you were like, sorry, I've been busy or whatever. And it's like, no one is too busy to send a text. I knew what you were doing. I was just giving you a chance to be honest, and you lied. I'm so frustrated. So she's having an anxiety attack over the fact that I guess he like mistimed it. That's the issue I'm getting out of this. I really just don't understand what could possibly be making this woman upset. The only way I can see being upset about this is that if her expectations were that this guy was just gonna roll out the red carpet straight in front of her and then get down on his knees and start kissing her toes on the spot, each one individually with every step she took. That's the only thing that makes sense here, is if she was expecting that and didn't get it. Then it's justified being upset. But no sane person would expect that of the guy. I don't know. This just comes across as someone who's off their rocker and narcissistic so far. But we haven't even gotten to the great stuff yet. No. Here we have a tweet with the caption, "Are men real?" And it's another screenshot of a text message. I'm sure it's some guy doing some stupid stuff, like asking her for nudes on the spot, or like, flirting with her while he has a girlfriend. Something that guys do sometimes, and they're boneheaded in that way. That would justify this, right? I mean, she can't twice in a row just express the sort of sentiment over guys treating her completely respectfully and normally, right? This can't be happening. Hey, sorry for the late replies. This week has been hectic, and I've just come down to Temecula for the weekend. I had a really good time with you, and I think you're hilarious, but I'm not feeling it as a serious relationship, which is what I'm looking for. I wish we met in another context and could just be friends because you're really fun to be around. I hope everything goes well for you, and I know you'll make sure it does. Okay. Let's list the things that this guy's doing in this one text. So he's apologizing. That's number one. He's explaining himself. He's explaining his feelings. He's reassuring her multiple times that the problem isn't her. And at the end here, he's even complimenting her chutzpah. Look at that. I hope everything goes well for you, and I know you'll make sure it does. That's like saying, hey, you're a feisty girl, and go out and tackle it. Imagine respecting someone this much, and then she just tweets the screenshot of this text and completely disapproves of it. Like, imagine the punch in the gut you would be feeling as a guy to have this text screenshot and then posted to her Twitter account with this caption. It's insanity how inconsiderate Jesse's being to these guys when her expectations for the guys to treat her must be, like, so far advanced space race, like, not even of this world. So what it seems like to me, and I'm not an expert by any means, so don't quote me on this. Don't, use this to get an insurance quote from the general. I'm not an expert. But what it seems like to me is Jesse just wants these guys to bend over backwards for her in just insane ways. And then when that doesn't happen, she's exposing these guys to like an audience of yes men. Basically people telling her, yeah, her expectations are actually reasonable, and fuck these guys, they suck. There's some additional evidence for this hypothesis later in the video, so continue and you'll see what I mean. For some reason, the Harry Potter guy tweet, though, reached outside of this bubble of yes men to the masses, where it was consumed by, generally more reasonable people with, realistic expectations of how social interactions work, and they weren't as keen on it, naturally. So there was some backlash. But the problem with Jessie is that she doesn't actually understand the problem with what she's doing. That's why she keeps doing it. And she seems to think that apologies make everything okay. She says, he wasn't publicly shamed. Literally, there's no way to know who this person is. I apologize to him directly. The end. Another one. Some of y'all on this site are extremely nasty, cruel-hearted people. I made a mistake and I apologize for it, and apologize directly to the person affected. What's all this? And then if you look here, some guy said you built like a Q-tip. Look at this one. You look pretty disgusting in your Twitter profile pic. Kind of like an uglier version of this other ugly girl I know, which makes you atrocious looking. What a neat way of putting it. Life update. The man from my earlier post has accepted my apology and wants to be friends, and we have agreed to move forward from this. Now, will everyone please stop sending me DMs that no one will ever love me. My own brain already says that to me enough every day. Thanks. Now, some of you eagle-eyed viewers might notice, earlier I was defending the guys for apologizing multiple times, and then when she apologizes, all of a sudden doesn't solve the problem. Why is there a double standard here? In the guy's case, the apology comes as soon as the action comes. The guys are apologizing preemptively because they know that what they're about to say is going to upset her, but they're setting up to explain themselves and to explain their motives so that they seem more reasonable. And indeed, they do end up seeming more reasonable as a result. Now, the difference with Jessie isn't just in when she's apologizing, it's also in what she's apologizing for. See, she seems to think that people care about the Harry Potter guy's feelings. She is correct in pointing out that nobody knows who this guy is or any way to contact him. I mean, he probably won't get any further abuse over his 3-inch penis over it. So, not a big deal, right? His feelings are saved. But the Harry Potter guy is completely irrelevant to why people are upset. He has nothing to do with it. See, if you look here, she says she apologized directly to the person affected. The person affected wasn't the Harry Potter guy. Nobody cares about the Harry Potter guy's feelings. We're not offended on his behalf by any means. I mean, he was just sort of the catalyst to showing Jesse's ethos that keeps bringing her to constantly make decisions that keep affecting people around her. The reason people are upset is the ethos that is fueling these actions is still clearly there and will always be there. They just don't like that she's gonna keep doing what she's doing all this time. Now, all these guys who were texting her earlier, they're also additional victims of hers, but yet she seems to think that because she's apologizing to the Harry Potter guy, everything's supposed to be okay now. No, the Harry Potter guy is just how we found out how annoying of a person you are, and we're mad at how annoying of a person you are, not the Harry Potter guy. I hope this is abundantly clear. You're apologizing for the wrong thing, and that's why it's not making it okay. One last thing I would like to point out is this tweet where she says, also, I did unblock the man in question and apologize directly to him. Might not seem like much, pretty much seems like she's telling the same consistent story, but I'd like to turn your attention toward the word unblock. In order to unblock someone, you have to block them. So she went on 2 dates with this guy, had sex with him twice, and then blocked him, and then made a tweet about him having a 3-inch penis, then unblocked him and apologized to him. Do you think that undid her mistake? I mean, I'm just gonna leave the judgment up to you guys at this point. Now, if you recall my little thesis statement at the beginning of the video, this isn't like a dissertation or anything, but I'm just gonna call it that. I mentioned a sort of narcissistic injury where you try to, justify a mistake you made, not with I'm a human who makes mistakes, because that would contradict your vision of yourself as a perfect person, but with whatever other, crazy stuff you can find to justify it. As you might imagine, this sort of apologies should fix everything nonsense is a play in the playbook of someone who suffers from these sort of narcissistic injuries. See, what she's doing is apologizing so that she doesn't get any backlash. In her mind, as soon as she apologizes, that's it. Like, any further backlash from that is just vitriol against her personally and has nothing to do with any problems that she's causing. But she's clearly mistaken, not only because Twitter has time delays and not everyone's aware of the current situation, but also simply because that's not actually true. Apologizing doesn't make the situation okay. Reevaluating future behavior is what makes it okay. And there's not a chance in hell that that will ever happen, because we have a very long history of her doing these things constantly, and the level of disconnect with reality you have to have for them to come about in the first place is just too great to eliminate overnight from one mistake. But, overinflated egos don't come from nowhere either. I'm sure that in day-to-day life, she sort of has interactions with people that would paint her as a much better person, that would justify her later conclusion that she is indeed a good person, which she then uses mental gymnastics to try to defend, right? Like, I'm sure if we looked at some text messages that she sent people, we would find that she's a great conversationalist and, a really smooth talker, especially since she's talking smack on men for being bad at these things. She's probably good at it, right? So the Twitter user whose name is on the screen at the moment actually managed to get her number through Tinder, and here are some conversations that she had with him. Okay, you can buy me drinks. Haha, I'm flattered. How's the party? I'm currently in Vegas for a hacking convention. And then she replies with the ever charming, "You can hack my vagina with your mouth." You know, the ineptitude with flirting that emanates from this kind of reminds me of incels. Incels, will be like way too brash and sexual immediately with girls and turn them off that way. And then, they'll write long essays on Reddit about how all of womankind needs to be destroyed or whatever. That's what an incel does, and she flirts the exact same way. It's kind of bizarre, and I'll get back to this point in a bit. However, in the interest of fairness, I would like to point out this tweet, which says, "Last night a boy told me his job is hacking computers, and I told him he could hack my vagina with his tongue. Why am I single? What is the reason?" Now, this tweet's sort of a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it makes her look self-aware that her texts were kind of weird, but on the other hand, she's again trying to justify her actions by saying that she knows they're wrong and yet still going through with them anyway. Just because you know something is wrong doesn't mean that you can just repeat it because now you know it's wrong. And this is going to be a bit of an extreme example, but let's say I took this sword out and I just stabbed someone to death. And they were writhing on the ground in pain. They were not dead yet. And then I hack their head off so that they can stop screaming. And then I turn around to my friend and I go, "That was so wrong of me. How could I? How dare I do that murder? That's just such a violation of human rights." That's hilarious, isn't it? Would they not be justified in running away from me forever and cutting off all contact? No, I just murdered someone in cold blood. It doesn't make it okay just because I'm aware that it's not okay to do that. I'm attending a hacking talk about dating apps, and I was going to mention how insecure some of them are. And then she replies, "Insecure? I don't know her." I can't tell if this is I hardly know her joke or if this is her trying to say that she's not insecure. We know she's not insecure because her ego is like the size of a supernova. Seeking a sense of security and validation through dating apps is my kink. Look at this king going through and trying to keep the conversation flowing. He is sharp. Like, he knows what he's doing in these conversations, and she's just not on his level at all. My reply guys give me more validation than I could ever ask for. Do you remember earlier in the video where I said that she probably has a bubble of yes men telling her that everything she's doing is okay? Yeah, this is the evidence for that. She straight up says it right here. She continues, "And the 12, 'You're so funny and beautiful, how are you single' DMs I get a day. Listen up, pal, it's because I hate everyone." She's telling this to a guy who's texting her trying to date her. I think I need to restate this context just so it's clear. This is a conversation with someone who's interested in pursuing romance with her. Alright? And she's talking about her simp army, her reply guys, and how much she hates everyone. I don't know. This girl does not seem to know how to read the room very well. But let's continue snooping in on her conversation. So here he goes on some crazy diatribe. He explains on Twitter that he was trying to answer a question she had about where he lived and whether he liked it. And then she just replies to his long explanation that's actually pretty well written with, "Damn dude, chill." Imagine opening up to a stranger and they just reply like that. It instantly becomes clear what they're after. They're after the D. They're not after anything else. And in all this is sort of the elephant in the room that I've yet to address. It seems like she wants guys to want to have, a relationship with her or like marry her on the spot. And yet she is herself only interested in smashing. There's a bit of an impasse there. Either way, she's gonna end up hating them, right? So what do we have so far? She's prone to using men as content. She thinks apologies solve everything when they don't. And she's not very good at talking to people, at least in this one instance. And she hates men for no reason. This is sort of the picture that's being painted by these tweets. Now, any guys or lesbians or bisexual, any LGBTs, any Alphabet Squad members, anyone who would be attracted to her is what I'm trying to say. would you want to date this girl? Like, after all you've seen, is this someone who you want to hit up and be like, hey, I would like to go on a date with you? Now, if the answer is no, I agree. But if your answer is still yes, I haven't even brought up the worst of the worst. Now, a little behind the scenes detail I'm going to provide to you guys. I have a folder full of screenshots of her tweets and some text messages that I made for this video. And I named them after what they related to so I could go point by point in the video. So we have, for the last one, Angelo, that was the guy's name, 1, 2, 3. And then for all the ones where she thinks apologizing solves everything, I have apologize 1, 2, 3, and 4. This next category of screenshots is the one that I have the most numbered pictures for. Now here's where the video goes from being, you know, a funny jab at someone who's a little bit unstable to just sadness. This is just a sad section of the video, to be honest with you. So here we go. Waiting for my first date, extremely drunk, should be great. Drunk off one hard cider, heading to a first date, AMA. I am drunk and going to a first date. Will someone pray for me? I don't care what religion. Going to my date drunk as fuck, but with a fresh mani-pedi, wish me luck. I have clinical anxiety, I work out every day, I clean, I sleep enough, I'm hydrated. That doesn't get rid of my anxiety. This is such a fucked up thing to preach. I'm imagining she's replying to someone who's saying something reasonable, like, you know, working out and eating healthy is still good for you even if you do have anxiety. That's probably what she was responding to. I can't say for certain, but like I've seen that sort of behavior before. Someone suggests kicking the alcohol and poor sleep habits. And her reply is, I'm a professional comedian. My career means everything to me and involves drinking in weird hours. So I'll keep my lifestyle a med regime, thanks. Once again, I refer back to my thesis with vanity. This is the sort of vanity where you're trying to match a self-image and are ignoring facts just to match it. Her self-image is of some comedian, her professional comedian, mind you, who is constantly drinking and is sleeping at weird times, but is still, you know, super funny and able to make life work because of that. Reality doesn't match up at all with that, of course. She's just drinking and sleeping at weird hours, and it's probably contributing to a poor lifestyle that might, you know, maybe make her anxiety worse. Again, I'm not an expert. Guy I went on a second date with yesterday hasn't texted me. Do we think it is because I showed up blackout drunk, or because I cried in his bed, or because I left the date to go on a date with another guy, or something else? This one's just like, youch. Then she follows up with, he just texted me, ha 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 ha, confirmed I'm hot enough to be a psycho. Imagine this crazy, you know, concept that I just came up with. What if you're hot enough to be a psycho, but then get this. You're also not a psycho. Wouldn't that be mind-blowing if, you know, you don't just like act exactly as degenerate as you think you're hot enough to act, you try to be above it a little bit. Wouldn't that be a great world? But no, she has to coast through life with the minimum possible consideration for other people. So, you know, she is a professional comedian after all. So my point for this section is supposed to be, she's wasting a bunch of guys' time. I mean, I hope that's clear and I don't have to explain anything. Showing up to a first date drunk is not a classy move, at the very least. It's kind of, you know, disrespectful. They're expecting you to be, you know, sober and really trying to, you know, make a connection with them. And imagine if a guy showed up to a first date drunk, how well that would go over on her end, and how she's just doing it to other people, almost like someone who doesn't consider other people when they act. I don't know. It just kind of seems a little fishy to me. Now, a little bit ago, she kind of mentioned being a professional comedian, and this is another part I want to talk about, the delusion part of this woman's life. Now, I'm not going to go through all the individual tweets, but here's one example. Make fun of a successful investment banker, comedian, and author who needs to have a Twitter presence because it's important for my writing career. Can you just let women enjoy things without gaslighting us? Let me know. The word gaslighting, already a red flag. I'm not trying to say that gaslighting is, fine or that it doesn't happen, but the more you get gaslit, the more likely it becomes that the problem is actually not the people gaslighting you, it's actually you. You know what I mean? And here's some more tweets in the same vein. She's saying she has a full-time investment banking job, successful podcast, a successful writing career, a successful comedy career, which I don't know how entwined those two are. Does she write comedy and then she's trying to list them off as two different careers, or are they actually just the same career? I'm not sure. An active social life, and plenty of time to buy and carve and roast pumpkins with cute boys. But I'd like to turn your attention towards this one. She says, I graduated with a 4.0 from UVA. What could the problem with saying that be? Well, someone, Twitter user at ambienvolent, which is a great username, by the way, dug up her graduating class, and if you look, we have markers for distinctions and honors and other distinguishments, and she doesn't have any such marks next to her name. If you graduate with a 4.0, you get some sort of distinction. I'm not sure exactly how it works on this school, but she lacks that. So what it seems like to me, and maybe I'm, looking too far into this or something, but it seems like she may be lying a little bit. Not a good look. I mean, could have been a typo, Let's just chalk it up to it's a typo. The last claim that she seems to be making is about her successful comedy/writing career. I'm gonna check that claim in a bit, but first, honey, why are so hung up on this wrinkles thing when I literally look like this? And then there's a picture of her looking like, decidedly average. I mean, I don't want to berate her appearance. Like, I'm no Brad Pitt paragon of beauty, but I'll let you guys be the judge. And then she says that pic is literally an unfiltered, no makeup picture from earlier today. Stop hating and let me be hot in peace. Unfiltered with that lighting? I mean, those are some pretty bright lights to have in your house. I've never seen that in a house before. I've never seen that sort of lighting structure in a house before. And in fact, it probably is pretty damaging to the eyes to have that much glare coming off of things. You might want to look into fixing your lighting. Maybe add a dimmer to the switch. Or you could just be lying about not being filtered, but you would never lie, right? Now, in all of this nonsense, we still have no idea what her comedy career actually looks like. But her Twitter username is Tinder District, and I feel like that's probably the name of her publication. So if you actually look on Google, and I'm about to go start doing that. Alright, so you Google search Tinder District. Her Twitter's the first thing that comes up. That's not what we want. We already went through all that. Here's her website, tinderdistrict.com. And it's... I hate the layout. Let me try to find something that's interesting. Oh, here we go. There's an about page. Let's go to it. She says, hey, betches. Welcome to Tinder District. I'm glad you're here, as you can probably tell by the perma-smile plastered to my face after fake smiling my way to so many bad first dates. My name is Jess Peterson. I'm a 25-year-old DC native turned LA resident who is on a quest to help people navigate and have fun in the current dating scene, and hopefully find love myself along the way. No, I don't use Tinder anymore. How long ago was this written? This isn't telling us anything. Since I started this blog in July 2015, I've been on over 100 first dates, like a lot over. Hell, out of, let's just say 143 first dates, you wasted 100 guys' time, and only the remaining 43 have you given an actual fair attempt. I mean, there's a lot of self-destructive behavior we've already seen out of this girl. She shows up to dates drunk. is that just not begging for a bad first date? I mean, many were good, several turned into second and even third dates, and a few turned into a relationship, but that's not why I'm here. The thing that keeps me coming back is the bad dates, the one to turn into a story to tell my close friends, future grandchildren, and the entire internet. So, yeah, this is it. She's trying to make a career out of getting bad dates out of guys, and then tweeting about them, podcasting about them, blogging about them. Personally, I admire the hustle. I have no problem with that. What I really have a problem with is her very belligerent behavior in doing so. Like, showing up to dates drunk, that's like number one on the never do this list. If she just showed up to all these dates with genuine intent of pursuing, at least a hookup, and they genuinely just went bad, and then she told the stories about it, I mean, I would be 100% behind this, but you only have so many dates you can go on, and if even one of those is this woman who talks about your penis size to the entire internet, I don't know, it's kind of disappointing. So welcome, readers. I hope you get a laugh, a nugget of useful life advice, or something new to read and listen to while at work, contemplating quitting your shitty job. Assuming her viewers all have shitty jobs, it's a nice thing to do. Follow along here and on Twitter, Instagram, or podcast, and her YouTube channel. Folks, this is a reaction video now. We're watching her YouTube video. Trash TV banner, that's always nice, but we only have 3 videos here. Now, she said she had a very successful podcast and blog and comedy writing career. If you had to take a wild guess at the view counts of these 3 videos that she has up there, what number of digits would it have? 5, 6 even, perhaps even 7, maybe one went super viral. 4 on the low end. No. One of them has 64 views. The other ones have 300 and 313 respectively. I can't make this up, folks. You can go and look, and the view counts might be slightly higher because I made this video, but that's the view counts we have here. So, not exactly the mark of success. However, stages of waiting for a text back is only 2 minutes, so I have to watch it. I'm sorry. I'm going in. By the way, if I laugh at this even once, I have to shave my eyebrows. That's my challenge.
Yeah, the date was good. I just, haven't heard from him in, 18 hours. I'm like, yo, bro, what are you doing? I'm not freaking out. It's fine. I'm just, wondering what he's doing. You're right. He's probably at work. Been at work all day, still at work, he's making money, whatever. I wonder what he'd do if I called him sweetie. Just slipped it in really casually the next time we saw each other. Unless, I guess, we never talk again. He's not allowed to ghost.
Alright, hold on. Go back a couple seconds. She's in the kitchen with a hat on, drinking, a carton of something, fully clothed. She has a thought. She's talking to herself. She continues the same thought many minutes later in the shower. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, but oh my god, the delay here is incredible. Imagine if thoughts work that way, you started to think something and then it wouldn't come back to you until 15 minutes later when you're in the kitchen trying to toast yourself a bagel, and then the thought completed itself. How much of a nightmare life would be. Let's keep watching this fucking shit.
Unless, I guess, we never talk again. He's not allowed to ghost me. Only I'm allowed to do that. Wait, what if he, died? He did get on the metro really late last night, and it's pretty sketchy around that area.
If you notice, she kind of flubbed that line a little bit, it looks like.
He said he's not close to his roommate either. What if it never gets reported? Oh my god, I just need to stop being so dramatic. He probably just likes me a lot and, is playing hard to get. Guys always do this. It's so fucking annoying. Wait, is that what happened with all the other guys who ghosted me? I should text them and see. I immediately regret sending those.
Alright, so why would you add that line? I mean, isn't it already implied, sort of just by the nature of the being of the interaction, that it's going to go poorly? You're going to send messages to all of your exes wondering if they still like you. You think that's going to go down well? No. Right? That's already, like, in the viewer's mind. But she had to add an extra line where she's talking to herself, very awkwardly, might I add, where she's saying, oh, I regret that. As if the viewer has no agency whatsoever and wouldn't already be predicting that. I don't know. It just strikes me as insulting. Like, she has no respect for the people watching this video. It's... ugh.
Why am I this torn up over a guy who's not Army Hammer? All right. I'm just going to set my phone upside down for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to drink my wine, and when 10 minutes has passed...
Yeah, this is a wine lady we're dealing with.
He will have texted me. God damn it, 10 minutes is a long time. What do we have? Okay, Big Dick Daddy 69 liked my Instagram picture, classic.
Army of simps, she's rolling her eyes at them. Even though they seem to be saving her life and her self-confidence is entirely based off of her constantly receiving messages like that.
Sure, classic. And then a text. Last night was chill. I didn't wear a fucking bra, and last night was chill.
Alright, so I really wanted to take her side for a second. I was going to say, yeah, Hunter, that wasn't a very good reply. You might want to come up with something a bit more clever. But then she follows up with, I didn't wear a bra, and last night was chill. I'm just confused now. What is not wearing a bra supposed to mean? Does that imply that the date was good or that it was worse than usual? Is she implying that not wearing a bra would be better because her nipples would be exposed and he would be more turned on by it and he's not reacting crazily enough to that? Or is the implication that the date was a lot worse than that and him saying it was chill means he largely wasn't paying attention to it? I have no idea what that means.
Fuck him. Fuck that. I'm fucking going out.
Hilarious, making more jokes about doing terrible things and then acting like knowing that they're terrible makes them okay. Perfect. Ideal. Excellent. Amazing. Alright, so I didn't laugh at the video. None of the jokes hit. So I'm not shaving my eyebrows. But I did see something. Yeah, one of them's a makeup tutorial. Yeah, I have to watch just the first minute of it just to see her presentational skills. Alright, here we go.
What's up, everyone? My name is Jessie. What's up, everyone? My name is Jessie Peterson, and we're doing a makeup tutorial today. A lot of you ask, Jessie, how do you look so beautiful all the time? And let me tell you, it is not natural. I watched a makeup tutorial.
Well, I mean, okay, here we go. If you remember the tweet from earlier where she was insulting people for asserting that her look wasn't natural, now she's insulting them for saying that maybe it is natural. What does this woman want? Anyway, she sucks. I'm not pleased with these YouTube videos personally. I mean, I know I'm not the target demo by any means, but good lord, were they not funny at all. I don't know. Were they not supposed to be funny? Maybe they weren't supposed to be funny. Maybe this is just like a shitpost channel and her actual comedy is like just hits super hard. I don't know. I could be completely mistaken about this. But based on everything I've seen, I think she's just not very funny. Here's what probably happened. In general, like compared to the average person, she's kind of funny. So a lot of her friends, and especially a lot of simps who were trying to date her, were saying, oh my god, you're so funny, you should be a comedian. And then she took that to heart, and now she thinks she's super funny. So she's out there making very mediocre jokes and expecting them to hit with everyone. And then bam, 3-inch dick Harry Potter guy happens, and it all comes crumbling down. That's the narrative I have in my head right now. Now, yes, I did see that she has a podcast, but I'm not listening to that shit. There's no way it's good. If it is, like, I would be pleasantly surprised, but I'm not trying out for this video. It's going on long enough. I think you guys get the point. Don't be a Jessie Rae Peterson. Don't treat dates like a way to get content or sexual pleasure. Treat them as a way to connect with other people. Don't lie about your credentials to try to persuade people who already disagree with you on twitter.com that they're wrong. A, they don't care, and B, you're just lying and you're gonna get called on it eventually. Don't expect other people to take upon the burden of dealing with some weird characteristic you have. That's just unrealistic. You're not royalty. You don't control the world. Nobody is going to want to interact with you if you hold people to that high of a standard. Don't try to make a career out of something you're not very good at. Just be honest with yourself. Don't show up to a date drunk. I mean, it's not funny. It's not going to make for good content, even if you think it will. It's not. And it's just wasting everyone's time, and it's super disrespectful. Don't do it. Don't be dishonest with yourself just to preserve your own self-image. Your own idea of yourself is not the most important thing in the world, believe it or not. There are other things, such as the truth, that are way more important. Lastly, and most importantly, don't swipe right on Jessie if you see her on Tinder. I don't care if you think you can fix her. I don't care if you think she's actually funny after all this and you want to hang out with her. It's not going to go well for you. Just forget it. Swipe right on someone else. You'll find that special someone eventually. You don't have to sink to this level. So ends the tale of Jessie Rae Peterson and her vanity. Again, it's not necessarily that she has the utmost physical attraction to herself that I'm calling her vain. It's that her own idea of herself is eclipsing the actual truth. And it's causing problems in the way that she interacts with other people and the way that she makes decisions. And the whole point of this video is to preach against that behavior. But beyond all of these lessons that you can take about how not to act, I think the craziest thing of all, my hottest take of the day, is that the female equivalent of an incel is not a femcel, not someone who's a female and can't get laid. It's not at all the same. We can see parallels in the way that Jessie sees males as incels see females, and in the way they disregard others and disrespect others for the sake of maintaining some sort of explanation that they have for a perceived injustice that doesn't actually exist. That's right. What I'm saying is that people like Jessie Rae Peterson, and there are many others like her, make no mistake, people like that are the female equivalent of incels. Now, I'm sure she hates incels, like, most people do. But in all of her efforts to avoid interacting with them, she has herself become the equivalent of one. That's the crazy 400 IQ loop around theory that I'm coming up with today. Be humble, be courteous to other people. At the same time, don't take, nonsense from people, but try to treat them with a bit more respect than Jessie Rae Peterson treats her first dates. That's all I'm asking. The first impression that may come to mind is someone who is desperate.